Landscape photography is a powerful way to connect with nature, a reminder of how small we are in the vast world around us. When it comes to landscape photography in Australia, there's arguably no better place than the iconic Great Ocean Road and Otways. A Photographer's Guide to the Great Ocean Road and Otways by Samantha Olsen is a book that provides everything you need to know about 152 different shoot locations, from the best times of day to visit, the ideal seasons, tide heights, drone regulations, even whether you can bring your dog. It's your ultimate guide to photographing the Great Ocean Road and Otways safely and creatively. 4 years of research went into this book, uncovering hidden locations and determining the best and safest times to visit each one. Those of you with limited time, this book will help you make the most of every moment you have. Whether you shoot with a DSLR or mirrorless camera, or if you're planning to visit the Great Ocean Road or Otways, this book can be your essential companion. Here's what you'll find inside: 152 shoot locations, a location breakdown separated into accommodation areas for easy planning, skills for great landscape images focused on seascapes and waterfalls, weather and tidal information. With 750 pages of information and over 1,000 full-colour images and diagrams, this book is a treasure trove of knowledge. This how-to photography guide, combined with a travel guide, all in one beautifully crafted book, gives you everything you need so you don't waste a moment of your trip. So, don't miss out. Visit Kickstarter.com and search for Great Ocean Road book to get your copy today. Choose a package that includes a physical hardcover book to enjoy all the beautiful images, plus an ebook so you can take this guide with you wherever you go. Get ready to discover the Great Ocean Road like never before. New Zealand landscape photographer Erin Jacob reflects on her creative journey from winning her first camera at age 11 to building an award-winning portfolio celebrated both nationally and internationally. Erin discusses how early missteps like her first blurry star photo only deepened her passion for learning and growth. A pivotal waterfall photography workshop in 2017 sparked a lasting shift in her work and mindset, leading her to explore the landscapes of Aotearoa with patience, humility, and a sense of wonder. She shares memorable moments shaped by photography, sleeping under the stars, navigating the tides on remote beaches, and waking at 2 a.m. for the perfect light. Erin's accolades include being runner-up in the New Zealand Geo Photographer of the Year, Built Environment in 2023, and earning the Electric Kiwi Mobile Award. In 2024, she was awarded the NZIPP Amateur Photographer of the Year and earned recognition from Natural Landscape Photography Awards, International Colour Awards, and One Eyeland. In this episode, Erin also opens up about the business side of running workshops, the role of intuition and timing in capturing unique images, and her belief in slowing down to connect deeply with place. Her approach is a reminder that the best photos are often the result of patience, persistence, and presence, not just gear. I hope you enjoy the show. G'day, Erin. Welcome to Landscape Photography World. How are you going?
Good, thank you, Grant. Thank you for having me here.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for agreeing to be on the show. I've seen your work quite a bit around the socials and really enjoy it. And you're one of the people that I've wanted to talk to for quite some time, and I've finally gotten around to it. So,
thank you.
Why don't we tell the listeners who you are?
So I'm Erin. I'm a New Zealand landscape photographer, so kia ora. I live on New Zealand's North Island, but I'll be running workshops in the South Island. Yeah, that's basically who I am.
All right, now we're going to get to the meat of it. Why you like that?
Why? I think it goes back a long way. I don't have a moment where I picked up a camera for the first time and the bug bit. I think it goes right back to when I was a child. And I think it goes back to my dad. My dad's Irish. He immigrated out here in the 60s. When I was 6, Mum and Dad took me over to Ireland to visit my grandparents. We travelled around the UK and Ireland, and that whole trip left a big impact on me. It was exciting. As a 6-year-old, I was playing in the luggage compartments on the trains and on the ferries and everything, and the aeroplane travel. And so the travel bug bit me then. A few years later, when I was a little bit older, there's always seemed to be National Geographic magazines floating around. And I was quite taken with the landscape photography that was in those magazines. So I was a little bit older and maybe a little bit more mature, and I'm starting to put the pieces together that someone's travelled there and they've taken these photographs and they're in magazines. It's, I want to be a photographer. And this is what I have no idea what this means or what in reality what it looks like. Sure. When I was, I think 11 or 12, I won my first camera it was a raffle at school, and I remember going into the assembly for the raffle and I saw the camera on the table and I thought, if my ticket comes out, I want that. I know from a very early age that I had an interest in photography then. Coincidentally, my ticket did come out.
I take it wasn't a Leica or a Hasselblad on the table.
No, I think it was an Agfa.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Agfa point and shoot. I can't remember. Yeah. I remember that there was a film brand the same as the camera brand, and I think it was an Agfa.
Yeah, Agfa were a big German brand from back in they started off in the early days of photography and went through up until I think the 90s. I don't know. I've got to be honest, I don't know if they're still around.
Yeah, I don't shoot any film at all now. Yeah. But I've picked up cameras throughout my life, picked them up, put them down. I forgot about it. Life's got in the way and what have you. And I think it wasn't until 2017 I did a workshop here he's an English guy. He lives out here, Ken Wright. He was running a workshop in the Kaimai Ranges, learn how to take waterfalls. And that's where it clicked into place to me that I love landscape photography. I love being outside, but just to be able to put those two elements together, that I can be outside and take photographs as well. And I started exploring more and more from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what does photography mean to you now? What is it in your life?
It's just an obsession. It keeps me poor, but I keep joking with people that I'm not going to die rich, but I'll die happy. It's just
not a bad way to live, though.
Yeah, exactly. It gets me out. I can go and explore things. It gives me excuses to go and explore different places. I've always liked getting off the beaten track anyway, but now I've got a reason to get off the beaten track.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What is it that motivates you now creatively? Obviously, getting outside is a big part of it, but it can't just be that. It's got to be a lot more. There's got to be a bit more to it.
What keeps me motivated is so many locations out there that I want to go and visit and explore and see. As I enjoy editing as well. I enjoy sitting down and going through that process and learning the new techniques as well, or different techniques. But I think more getting out there is what's keeping me motivated. Yeah.
And then who or what's been the biggest influence on your work? Is it a person, a place, or a moment that in nature that sort of struck you and went, oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Probably that workshop with Ken is what really sparked the whole landscape thing for me. That's where I want to concentrate. I did dabble in real estate photography for a little bit. So I brought into a franchise doing that a few years ago, but not for me.
It's not the most exciting photography, but you can pay the bills sometimes.
Yeah, I thought it was I enjoy photography. I like looking at real estate photos. This is a no-brainer until I was doing it. I'm actually really terrible at selling myself. Yeah. I found I was on the tracks in the bush in the middle of the week because I discovered that no one else was out there. They were all at work.
Yeah.
That business obviously didn't take off. But I think that particular weekend, that was my light bulb moment weekend for doing landscape photography.
Was there a particular image you took from that, or was it just the whole experience?
I think it was just the whole experience. I was going through a sort of pretty turbulent time at the time. I was just coming out of a nasty marriage and rediscovering myself,
Yep.
and that I had the freedom to go and explore, and I didn't have anyone else I needed to answer to why I was going to go and do something. So when I actually think I found the ad for that particular workshop on Facebook, and I signed up for it, and Ken contacted me that there weren't enough people had signed up, and I've joined the local camera club here where I live, and I'm a member of this camera club. I'll see if I can drum up some excitement. So I did, as a friend of mine ended up coming down with me. I'm thinking, I need this weekend. I just needed it. So I don't know what it was. I'd seen the photos that Ken had put on his advertisement. I was like, I want to see that. I want to go there. I want to learn this.
Do you think part of what you were looking for and what photography has done for you is helped you through some of those turbulent times?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've met some incredible people through it. And I suppose because it's something that I've always had an interest in through as long as I can remember. And now really having the freedom to go out and explore and to learn and to meet new people. And yeah, it's just, it really has shaped me to who I am today. And through that as well. And I think in small part, my day job, I've learnt that I love people. I love talking with people. I love imparting my knowledge onto people.
Yeah.
If I can help someone, I don't want to tell them how to suck eggs.
Yeah, sure.
But I really enjoy that whole community. And
yeah, I think regardless of what level you're at in almost any career, you can there's always something new to learn.
Oh, absolutely.
That interaction with other people is a massive benefit in being able to say, okay, I didn't know that. Thanks for imparting that bit of knowledge.
Yeah. I'm always keen to learn more, especially if it's going to make life easy for me as well.
Absolutely. Are you a instinctive photographer, or do you do more research and planning before you get out into the field?
A little bit of both. If I'm just shooting around here locally, I'll look out the window. If it's going to look like it's a nice sunset or shaping up to be a nice one, I'll just go. But if I'm traveling somewhere, there'll be a bit of planning that's involved in that. I'm a pretty fluid traveler. Last year, I spent a month down in the South Island in a camper van, and it was just purely research for photography. Before I went down, I did a ton of research before I went. Google Map rather, has got so many pins, and
Sure.
I'm a bit of a nerd. They're all color-coded and different things, but there was no set plan. I had one shooting location that was tide dependent, and on that particular date, I had to be there for sunset. But the rest of it, I just tried to work it that it made sense, that I wasn't doubling back on myself to make the most of the month. And saying that, I still didn't really see half of what I wanted to see, but just barely scratched the surface. But yeah, astrophotography, obviously, you got to plan for that, and
That's
then
always a must.
hope that everything aligns.
Hope there's no clouds.
Yeah,
or as few clouds as possible, anyway.
That's the one. I've got some astro shots that I've been waiting 3 or 4 years. There's one in particular I've been waiting for 5 years to get, and it's just never quite works out. And I can guarantee you that when there's no moon here, it'll be cloudy.
Yeah, guaranteed. Yeah. Unfortunately, the comets, I forget the first one a couple of years ago, and then the one last year, it was just overcast here for the whole week that both of them were around. So it was kind of like, okay, how much commitment am I going to put into driving 7 or 8 hours out to somewhere where I can actually get a shot?
I've done that.
Don't get me wrong, I've done it, but then there's other things in life which kind of, so I'm going to miss that comment. There'll be others.
Yeah, the comet that was here was at the end of last year. There's a church not far from where I live. It's quite a popular location for an astro shooters. Yeah. So a few friends of mine, they're out there. I said, I'm coming out. I said, I don't actually care about the comment, or that maybe a bit bad, but I just want to see it. I got out there and I lined it up. Oh, there it is. Sweet. I'm gone. My photograph. It's a pile of shit, but I saw it.
That's fair enough. The thing is, have the philosophy that the experience sometimes greater than the output. And yeah, whether you bother to take a photo or not is neither here nor there in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
It's
I think,
have you had a great time doing it?
yeah, I think every photograph behind it's got a story behind it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, when you get there, I think it was Thomas Heaton that said just because it's a beautiful view, it doesn't mean it makes a decent photograph.
That's right. Yeah.
And that sort of resonates as well. But yeah, you can have that beautiful view and you can have that great composition and everything, but yeah, you can still come home with crap. And I've done that many times.
Oh, same. Yeah. That's the beauty of photography, though, is that you can avoid showing that stuff off that
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't do well.
Yeah, especially now too. Digital
Absolutely.
stuff. It's great.
Yeah. Do you create projects for yourself? Do you have a set of projects, or are you just, oh, I'm going to take a shot of this and that'll be it, and it's not part of any great portfolio grand scheme?
Not projects in particular. I've got a couple of goals.
Okay.
I have a drone that tends to spend more time under my bed, forgotten about, than anything else. I had to buy it for the real estate photography,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I would like to upgrade it, but I can't. I can't justify spending the money on an upgrade until I start using this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's on this year's sort of goal list is to start using it. Every year I say I want to get better at astrophotography. And the other sort of little goal I have for myself at the moment is to start taking more intimate landscapes and using my long lens more than my wide
Sure.
angle lens.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Why has that sort of become a goal? Because I know there's been a bit of a shift in trends around landscape from being the grand vista. They're still there, and some people that just specialise in those. Is it about following a trend, or is it something creatively in you that you feel is missing?
It's just something creative. I discovered, probably, I'm going to butcher her last name, Heather Tong, I think it is her name. She's a UK photographer
Mm-hmm.
2, 3 months ago, and she's got a lot of intimate landscapes of Iceland and around where she lives. I don't know, I just really liked her work. And it's not something that I do. I was in Iceland 2 years ago, and I have come back with some smaller, more intimate things. And I
Yeah.
actually really like those photographs. I'm probably not going to get away from using the big wide angle. I love it. I want to get my hands on a 14 mil.
That's getting wide.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. There's something that's drawing me towards those little intimate scenes and to be able to look at things differently as well, rather than looking at that grand vista
Yeah.
and seeing
I, w-
something
I,
that maybe someone else doesn't.
I will admit to actually quite liking my 10 to 18 mil. It's not
Yeah.
much of a zoom, but it's a hell of a panoramic lens. It's
I met a guy by chance, Matt. Oh, shit, is that his name? Oh, he's going to kill me. By chance last year down in Aoraki, Mount Cook, and we spent the day together shooting.
yeah,
And he lent me his 14 mil. And oh my God, it was so cool. I didn't want to give it back to him. And
yeah,
then that was in the morning. And then in the evening, we met for a bit of astro. Oh my God, I love this thing. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
been a little bit obsessed.
the great part about the 10 to 18 is 14 mil is its sweet spot. You get
Oh, nice.
you go out to 10 and you start to get that sort of barreling in around the outer edges. So
Yeah.
it's you don't want very straight lines and trees and things in the edges of your composition. Otherwise, it looks a bit weird. Or there's
No.
a lot of messing about in editing that you got to do
Yeah,
to
you're cropping out a
straighten
lot.
it out. But 14 mil, it looks really schmig.
Nice.
You talked a bit about that creative urge there. What role does personal expression play in your photography, and how do you infuse your style and vision into your images? Do you have a style?
I don't know if I do, to be honest. I seem to be drawn to other photographers' work that's more dark and moody.
Okay.
But when I look at my stuff, it's all bright and cheerful.
Yeah, I was going
And
to say that's
yeah,
not you.
no, but that's something I'd love to dabble with, or to learn how to do that, or to shoot like that,
Oh,
the light, or how to manipulate it in Photoshop or whatever they do afterwards. I don't know if I have a style.
Okay.
Yeah, I know people in my camera club would disagree. They can pick out my stuff, but that's from a small audience. But yeah, I think on a grand scheme.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, your style is definitely not dark and moody. It is more vibrant and brighter, as far as I'm concerned. Could I pick one of yours out from a row of similar images? Maybe not, but I know when I'm scrolling and I come across one of yours that it's definitely you, and it's not just your name above it that tells me.
Okay, that's good to know. I obviously have got something going on there. Then that is a bit of mine, but yeah,
I think everyone develops a form of consistency, and I'm personally trying to dabble in as many different genres as possible, though portrait's probably going to be way down the list, and wedding isn't even on the list.
If I shot people, I'd be in prison.
Yeah, there are people I'd like to shoot, but not with a camera. But yeah, I guess I'm interested in how you put your emphasis into things and what it is that you're trying to communicate, if you're trying to communicate anything, or is it just, okay, here's a pretty scene that I saw, take it for what it is.
That's pretty much
totally
it.
fine. So it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think art has to have a deeper meaning.
No, I mean, that is pretty much it, to be honest. The photographs that I edit, obviously I edit them, and I do a lot of dodging and burning. I really enjoy that process.
Sure.
But I don't want to edit them to a point where you're going, oh, that's so fake, or that, that's not what you saw.
That's Photoshop.
Yeah, that. I like to, if you look at the raw and you look at the end results, there's obviously a difference, but it's not ridiculous.
There should be, though. I personally think there should be. And there's room for all sorts of taste. If you want to make your skies more purple, then fine. That's a choice.
Each to their own. It's one thing, actually joining the camera club. I remember my first meeting I went to in the camera club 6 or 7 years ago. There was one image that was up. It was judged, and I thought it was just a snapshot. I thought it was terrible, and the judge commended it.
Wow.
This shot was amazing, and blah blah blah. Okay, so this is really subjective then, and I think that was a huge lesson to take away on the first night of joining that club.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily matter what anyone else thinks of my art or anyone's art, but I guess the definition of art is knowing that fine line between when it's rubbish and something decent. I think it was Homer Simpson that said that.
Something like that. Yeah, when you look at people taping bananas to walls and calling that art, it's kind of, I think my photography's okay.
Yeah. No, interesting. I've got a few entries in the Australian Landscape Photographer of the Year, or I forget the actual name of the competition now. It's an Australian-run competition. I did enter a photograph into it that I took at the Hoarfrost in Twizel last year. Yeah. And I think when I enter competitions, they're the only things I do actually read the terms and conditions of.
Absolutely.
And I read them, and I thought I'm not in breach in any way, and I know what they're doing with my photographs. They've entered it in 2-3 weeks ago. I had an email from them. This one particular image is this AI.
Wow.
In any way.
Okay.
No, but
it's the raw file, but yes, it's been edited. Yeah.
But they just sent me out a Google sheet of some answers that I had to, or some questions I had to answer. I answered them, but they sent me that particular term again. I looked at that and I did a bit of research on it. So I had used Nik effects, color effects on the image as well. Okay. I thought, is this AI software? So
Nik effects has been around for years and years before AI came into being.
So the bit of digging that I did and the research, I concluded that I wasn't in breach. I sent it off the answer to them, and they came back about a week later. You answered no to this question. Here's this term again. Was that correct? Was that your answer? Is that right? So I emailed them. I said, look, this is when the photograph was taken. This is where, how, and blah, blah, blah. And this is my process of editing it. And concluded that it wasn't in breach. I'm happy to accept your decision if you think otherwise. And I can send you the raw. They're happy with that. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know if that was a compliment or not. To say hi. So, okay.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody recently about that, and we might as well bring up the topic of AI while we're on it. But it has gone from, oh, that's Photoshop to, oh, that's AI. The blunt accusation that you normally get in social media from Joe Random. And it's, how do you react to that sort of thing when you see it? Do you just shrug and move on, or does it make your blood boil? What's your reaction when you see
I
that
think
stuff?
what annoys me is I think this is just society in general. We're just such a scrolling
Yeah,
society now that no one actually looks at something. So you get these ridiculous skies, and people are going, "Oh my God, that's beautiful! That's so amazing!" I think
yeah,
that's so obviously AI. There's no way that there's those cloud formations or that aurora
yeah.
or
The white
whatever.
aurora ones that have been going around
Yeah,
recently, and
but then you get other people that I saw one a while back. I forget who the photographer was, but it was a focus stacked image. It might have
yeah,
even been focus stacked as photo stacked. To me, it didn't look like AI. It looked like it was a very technical photograph.
yeah.
And yeah, that was in the comments. Oh, that's AI. That's AI, and people don't get it. So it's not. I was actually thinking the other day that once the results are out for this competition, just for shits and giggles, I might chuck that photograph up onto one of those Facebook pages just to
See what it does.
throw that grenade out there, see what they come back with.
Yeah. If I get and it's usually that's Photoshop. So far, I've been lucky, touch wood. I haven't had anyone come to me and say, oh, that's AI. Though I have those AI detection apps that you can use. I've had a few say, oh, 75% sure it's AI. And it's, well, I'm pretty sure that's a photo. But anyway.
Yeah,
But what I
yeah,
normally do with those guys is if they say, oh, that's Photoshop, I say, yes, Photoshop was used to process this image. I shoot
yeah.
RAW and I have to use something to take it to a finished image because RAW looks flat and boring.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's people criticize photographers for not being purists or whatever, that it's you have to go
Oh,
and you have to
yeah.
Photoshop everything, but we're doing the complete opposite to a painter. A painter is starting with a blank canvas and they know when to stop, and we're doing that in reverse. We're bringing that back out, and unless you're going to get completely carried away with yourself, we know when to stop as well.
Yeah.
And it's just the medium that we're using.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to put flying unicorns in your image and sky replacements and all the rest of that, fine.
Yeah,
Say that's what you've done, though. Don't
yeah,
say, oh, I was standing here and took this amazing image of flying unicorns. Aren't they amazing? That's where I go, yeah, you're being dishonest, so
mm,
don't do that. And I've
mm.
seen that with some AI images where somebody, and I refuse to call them photos, but where somebody has said, oh, this was an amazing night. Here's an aurora or a Milky Way or whatever it is, and you can see, particularly Milky Way, AI doesn't render the Milky Way very well. It's getting better, but it actually makes significant errors in placement of stars and clusters and gas and whatever, you
I
know.
haven't look. I haven't. Maybe I just haven't paid too close of
Oh,
attention.
I
But
don't
yeah,
look at a
I
lot of
haven't.
them because it's just, but
Been,
you scroll past and you go, oh, well, that's AI. I
mm,
just usually keep going, but occasionally you look at them, but you'll see it and you go, okay, is it, isn't it? And because it is improving, but you get people there saying in their captions saying, oh, this was an amazing night. But yeah, you might have been an amazing night as you sat there at your keyboard. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, good on you. You learnt a new skill.
that's it. What does success look like for your photography? What makes your heart sing or makes the cash register ring? What is it that you say
Yes.
that's
So
successful?
I have got some workshops coming up later on this year and next year. I am co-leading with Nick Page next year
Nice. Okay.
out here, and that particular workshop is we've still got a couple of places left on that. I'm under no illusion that they're coming to see me. That
Of course
it
they
will
are.
be, but success to me will be when I start selling my workshops because of me.
Yeah.
And I really want to get out there and show people this country. We're so blessed to live here.
Absolutely.
But I think aside from that, it's just when I master something new. Last year, I spent, I hate to think how many hours trying to get my head around luminosity masks. So I finally realized it clicked when I didn't really have to think about it. But I know there's still more learning there. But
Yeah, there's always new stuff to play around there. But I think I was similar when I started working out, okay, how does this work? It really started to make a difference to both how I shot and how I looked at images and the way that the camera works versus the way the processing works. And yeah, I think, to be honest, if you can teach yourself luminosity masks, you've gone a long way in understanding how light works and therefore how photography actually works.
Yeah, that's been a major learning
Digital
curve.
photography, anyway.
It's been a huge learning curve, that one, but it's just been, I kept at it, so I knew it was going to pay dividends in the end for my editing, and hopefully it is.
How do you approach a landscape to look at finding something that's a bit different, a bit unique? You mentioned experimenting with new techniques. Is that something you try out on a regular basis? And how do you do that?
To be honest, I haven't done it as much as I should. I haven't really shot that much over summer. I find our light is too harsh. So I'm only really starting to get back into shooting now. And I was down in Taranaki at the weekend, so everything came down with me, the tripod and the long lens and what have you. When I get to somewhere, when I get to a new location and I've got these ideas in mind, these things that I want to try out, I am looking. But to be honest, I haven't done as much of it as I should in regards to just general shooting. I'm just looking for that nice foreground and the nice scene and what have you, as what I said earlier on. Just because I'm somewhere nice doesn't mean I'm going to get a decent photograph. But yeah, I research to go to somewhere, but I don't research it enough that I'm going to be putting my tripod down in someone else's tripod spot. Yeah. I'm looking for those compositions myself. And there's some places that you go to that you're probably not going to get something unique. You're going to get something the same as everyone else. What's going to be unique is the light.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's other places that no one knows about, and those places are special, and they're the ones I keep going back to as well, yeah.
Do you ever look at an iconic spot and go, okay, I think I might have found something that someone else hasn't seen? And have you ever actually had that light bulb moment and gone, okay, if I put my camera there, I don't think anyone's done that before?
I'm not sure if I have, actually. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. If I have, I don't think so.
Okay.
Is that bad?
That's fine. Let's talk about your workshops. You mentioned there's a couple of slots, so let's see if we can fill them. What can somebody expect on your workshop with Nick?
Yeah, so it's just my sense of camaraderie is what I'm after, and to be able to show people this beautiful country that I'm privileged to call my own, my backyard.
Yeah,
I've got small groups, all my workshops there, hoping that there's something a little bit different on them to what other people are running. The workshop I've got with Nick, we've got a couple of nights down in Milford Sound. We've got a private photography excursion booked on Milford Sound for a couple of hours. But all my workshops are going to be starting the night before we do any shooting. We're going to have a welcome meal, just a nice, fun, relaxed way to get to know everybody. I've been a participant on a couple of workshops in the past. So I've taken things from the workshop that I liked, that I didn't like, which I thought, and not necessarily that I could do better, but I could do different, or just information that I can get out to people. But yeah, I think it's important to keep the group small as well, so we're not all jockeying for trying to tackle each other out of the way. Yeah,
trying to manage a group, I think any larger than about 4 or 5 is, as an individual, if you've got 2 people leading, then you can extend that out to maybe 8 people without killing yourselves. But once you get over that 4 or 5 people, it really starts to be a bit of a stretch, giving
Yeah.
everybody equal time to actually have a good experience, I think. Is that
Yeah.
the kind of size you're talking about, or?
Yeah. So with Nick, we've got spaces for 10.
Okay.
And then myself, I was looking at 6 to 8 people, depending on where we're going
Yeah,
as
right.
well. So I don't want to do too much driving during the day. Obviously, plenty of stops along the way. Everywhere has been handpicked for the light, and all my workshops as well. I got them throughout the winter months, especially with the South Island. Most of the South Island, I think, is a dark sky reserve. So, trying to put as much of that in our favour as possible.
Yeah,
Then we're just in the
absolutely.
hands of the cloud gods and the rain gods, I suppose.
Start making sacrifices now. It's my
Yeah,
advice.
yeah.
Have you got any firstborn children?
Yes, I do.
You don't
I've
need
already
them.
had to try them in, though.
They're already gone. Yeah.
Mm.
Fair enough. Talk to me a bit about running a business, or photography as part of your business. How does that work in amongst the rest of your life?
Yeah, so I'm quite fortunate. I work for myself, an accountant by day.
Sure.
And so the business side of things, that's a
Sleeping
no-brainer.
side is covered.
Yeah, that's easy. I don't mind the paperwork, and I love the planning side of things and
Sure.
all that. And I said earlier on, as a nerd, that's why I'm a nerd. I think I've got spreadsheets and I've got lists and I've got post-it notes behind me and all these things. But the marketing side of things, that's been a bit of a for me.
Yep.
But yeah, because I do work for myself, I've got a small client base. My clients are awesome. They know sometimes they can't get hold of me. They know sometimes I might be a day or two responding to them. They know I'll always respond to them though. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little bit of a rock and a hard place at the moment. I really want to get these workshops up off the ground and get that going. And I think I'm going to be quite successful at that. I wouldn't be pursuing it if I didn't think that, but I've got room to take on more clients.
Yeah.
If I take on more clients and this explodes, I can't give them the attention that they deserve. And yeah,
Sure.
I can't drop their balls. That sounds terrible.
All right, I'll edit that out.
I can leave it in. I don't mind. I have got a sense of humor. I do try on my Instagram. I do try and put a little backstory on each of my photographs, and I do try and impart my sense of humor. Is I like a good joke or a clean one or a dirty one or
Oh,
whatever. So
humour
yeah,
makes the world go round, as far as I'm concerned.
absolutely.
Do you think where you live has influenced how you shoot? It obviously influences what you shoot, but do you think it's had any influence on your technique or style in any way?
No, I don't think so. I'm really guilty of not shooting enough around where I live.
No.
Where I live, it's really beautiful. I live at the base of a peninsula. I know the peninsula is beautiful because I've seen other people's photographs that don't live here
Yeah.
of the peninsula, but I can't see it because I see it
You
all
live
the
in it,
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm the same about suburban Western Sydney. It's kind of, I don't see it.
yeah. No, but I go somewhere else, and I just want to get my camera out and snap everything, and a real tourist to some degree. But I come back here, and I was like, it's boring.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think where I live has influenced how I shoot. It's just
Okay.
how I shoot is how I enjoy shooting.
Yeah, okay. What about where you like to shoot? Is there a particular place that keeps calling you back?
Yeah, there's the ones that keep calling me back are the ones where I've found a location, but I haven't got the shot that I have in mind. There's two
Sure.
in particular. There's one at the top of the Coromandel. It's a place I've been trying to get an astro shot there for since just before COVID. It's obviously it's cloud dependent because it's an astro shot, but it's tide dependent as well. And once you get there, you shut off. You have to get there at low tide. You committed to stay there the night. Something about up there puts the shits up me. There's first time I went up there and I could see from the road where I was going. I was like, oh, I don't know. There's just this feeling of foreboding in my stomach.
Yeah.
I went and I took my hiking tent expecting to pitch it, except it was just rocks. So I had to tie that down. I couldn't sleep, had horrible dreams. Got up in the night and I got this photo and it was all right. But I don't know, I think I maybe had a new ball head or something. I couldn't quite tilt my camera back as far as I wanted. So I was like, all right, next month I'll go back up there because that Milky Way would be perfect because we're in lockdowns then. And the second time I went up there, I got the same feeling. And then the third time I went up there, I took a friend of mine with me. And I think I had a false sense of security with having him up there with me.
Yeah, right.
I figured there's a taniwha that swims off the channel up there. It's like I guess it's like the Loch Ness Monster.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. It is a mythical creature, but it's not there to harm you. It's there to keep you out of harm's way. Right. But there is something not great up there, but yeah.
Wow.
It's another location as well, which is down around the back of our mountains here, Mount Narahoe. It's the astro shot that I want to get, and I hiked down there last year, and it just so happened to coincide with the night that we had that aurora in May last year. It was amazing, but I still don't have my astro shot.
So. The aurora spoilt it. Yeah.
Oh, it did.
That sounds like a real first world problem, though, doesn't it?
It really was terrible, but I think the thing that I would have been happy. I'm obviously happy I got an amazing shot when I was taking my shot that night. I think I was getting something I thought was special. I'd got aurora. I'd gone back to the hut, the hiker's hut, and slept for a while. Got back up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to get some. It had died down, and the Milky Way was there, and the aurora was still happening. And then I got a SAR arc as well, which I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah. So I remember putting the photograph together. It was a big pano. I thought, lens refraction and that. Damn it. But yeah, it was pretty cool. But when I was shooting that, I was thinking, I think I'm getting something quite special here.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. But we'll get back out there, maybe hopefully next month if the weather plays ball.
Definitely. What have you learnt about the world through photography?
I think people are pretty decent.
Okay.
Maybe it's not a photography thing, but yeah, I think the majority of people and photographers that I've met along the way, they're all really decent people, or they're all just want to stop and chat and have a yarn with you, or they're interested in what you're doing. Yeah, it's a good world to be in.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you like photographing with other people, or do you prefer to be on your own?
It depends. I feel like I do some dumb shit, go to some sketchy places on my own. I don't know if I'm aged now where I'm thinking I've maybe got a little bit more to lose, or common sense is maybe starting to catch up with me finally. I
think your risk-taking behaviour takes a back seat the older you get.
Yeah, it's only just started. But yeah, it depends where I'm going. That I like to be on my own, but obviously workshop stuff is going to be different. That's not shooting for myself. If I'm shooting for myself, yeah.
What do you like in terms of processing? Are you straight into it when you get back from a shoot, or do you let things mellow for a bit?
A little bit of both. I will back up everything straight away. And at the end of each day as well, especially if I'm traveling, I'll back it up and get it into Lightroom, get it organized. Invariably, I'm going to forget where I've been. So at least that's taken care of, and I can come back at a later date and tackle it. If it's landscape stuff, I tend to let it marinate. Yeah. But if it's astro stuff, I tend to edit that quite quickly. I think with astro, it's not like with landscape or sunrise and what have you, and you're mucking around with colours and what have you. Landscape's going to be pretty straightforward each time you tackle it. But the reason I do tackle it quickly is, especially if you've done a multi-row pano, so I know where each pano starts and stops and the stacking and what have you.
Got it.
Yeah, I do try and tell myself every time I shoot that I'm going to put my hand in front of it each row or whatever. And so it's just while it's fresh, I sort it out.
The multi-rows, it's like, I forgot to do that.
Yeah, I always do.
When you're looking at pieces of the sky, it is a bit like looking at a jigsaw, isn't it? And trying to work out, okay, is that the end of the row or the beginning of the next one? And where does this one go in the sequence?
Yeah, the whole workshop thing, I've created my own website, and with that website, obviously I've got to put photographs on it, and I had a lot of photographs I needed to edit. So I am trying to maybe not be so tardy with letting them marinate for 6 months to 5 years. Try and get to them a little bit quicker.
I honestly don't think that's a problem, though. You've always got a backup if you need to. If you're bored and looking for something to do, go and edit some photos that you haven't looked at for 6 years.
Oh yeah, I don't plan on taking on another project as big as building that website. So, no, excuse me. Got saturated with my photographs at one stage, questioned what I was doing, and thought they're all shit.
We all do.
Yeah.
Not yours, individually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look at mine and I go, what was I thinking?
Doing that, though, it made me quicker at processing, which was great. But yeah, it also made me realise that it just maybe shouldn't let them marinate too long. Now let's try and keep on top of it. So yeah, watch the space.
Talking about processing speed, what kind of time would you take for a typical landscape image?
How long's a piece of string? Yeah, it depends. Some of them not very long at all if I've got everything right in camera. Some of them I can up to an hour, 2 hours maybe, depending on how much dodging and burning I want to do, how intricate I'm getting with some things. So yeah, it depends. I spent a week photo editing one last year.
Wow, okay.
And I love it. I love that photograph. But it's one I keep coming back and looking at and going, wow, that's very cool. It was a different technique which would be part of why it took me longer. And there was a lot of dodging and burning that went on in it. But yeah, that's definitely the longest it's ever taken me to edit something.
Yeah, I don't know that I have the patience to sit down for a week and do one. One photo.
Yeah, it was a lot of put down, pick up again. But it was over the course of a week I chipped away at it and stood back, and it's worth the effort. Yeah, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, no, but that's all that matters, is that if you think it was worth it, it is. That said, there are a few that I've spent a bit of time on simply because it's for a client or something at a bit of a commission that ended up taking about 18 months to complete, the end to end from saying, I want an image for this specific space in my house, a friend of ours. And what they were looking for was initially a long single print for above a staircase. And then they decided they wanted a triptych.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Done differently. Well, that's fine. I'm easy. I don't mind chopping things into squares. That's okay. But it took a while to find the right composition, find the right image, and we ended up settling on something that they were really happy with, and I was quite happy with as well. But processing, it ended up being, I think, about a 15-shot pano. And it's basically an aerial top-down of a rock shelf with waves going over the top of it. And so it's quite abstract. Each individual image is quite abstract, but as a whole, you can see this coastline going down the middle of the image and the waves on one side and the brown rock on the other side.
That's really cool, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really proud of where they put it, and the client says it makes them smile every time they see it.
That's really nice, isn't it? Yeah.
What about those times when... Oh, actually, before I do that, I'll ask about your printing. Do you print much?
No, I don't print. I would like to print, though. I will be putting a print store on my website at some stage. But yeah,
You're looking to get into doing it yourself, or you?
I'll send it off to a print lab. But at the moment, I just feel like that's just something else I've got to learn. Whereas at the moment,
it's like learning photography from scratch. The papers.
There's
reflectivity. That's a word that I struggle with.
There's
Let
all
alone
of that.
a concept.
Yeah, so no, I would like to print. A friend of mine here, he prints for himself, and he keeps saying to me, "Oh, you need to print." I said, "Well, what am I going to do with it?"
Stick it on your wall.
I should.
Take those Post-it notes down and stick a print up there.
I should. I've got some stuff sitting here on my piano they're just mounted. I'm not even sure why I have them done, but
I've said this before on the podcast, but every year I put together a book of stuff And it's kind of like the old photo albums, but it's just print stuff up, and it gives you the opportunity, to see your stuff in print. And it's not all, each book is not all art shots. It's a mix of family snapshots and travel shots and whatever we've done during the year. And it's just a nice way of saying, okay, this is a bit of a memento for the year. They're not for sale, they're not for anybody else except us. And it replaces the old photo albums that you used to stick your, 5x8 prints into.
I've done that for a couple of trips that I've done, just for friends and myself. But it's forget about it as well, actually. But you do pull them out every now and then, whereas you don't if it's sitting on a hard drive somewhere.
This is it, yeah. I'm about halfway through doing last year's, and I'm almost halfway through the year now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, true. Jesus, that's going too quick.
Finger out and get that one finished so that I don't have the same problem at the end of the year when I want to start putting the next one together.
Yeah.
Do you ever struggle with inspiration in your photography? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Not really, although saying that I did lose my mojo completely probably just before COVID, just after COVID. I think COVID's got a lot to answer for.
Absolutely.
But it was after I was doing the real estate photography after I did the real estate photography, I went back into working as a full-time employee. And I put my camera under my bed rather, and it stayed there for a year.
Yeah.
And then we went into all the lockdowns, so I couldn't travel. So I just the club. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go there. I'm on the committee with them, and just I lost interest in everything. So I actually ended up getting out of that by buying a completely new camera system. As you do, Our Prime Minister, Auckland was like that kid at school that keeps getting nits through COVID. So I'm in the Auckland region, and we keep getting put into lockdown, or our lockdown was extended. And then I think there've been rumours that Auckland was getting out of lockdown, or our restrictions were being lessened or reviewed and whatever. And the government had their announcement, and no, we were just staying exactly where we were. I rang the camera store and got a new camera.
Fair enough.
But I was a little bit nervous dropping, I don't know, what was that, 10 or 11 grand onto my credit card, thinking I haven't even touched my old one. It's a little bit like the story with the drone, justifying buying a new one of those. But I haven't looked back. But I think things that keep me inspired is probably the usual suspects like YouTube and Instagram and what have you, and then trying new techniques or editing techniques that I don't typically do myself. Even if they're going to look like shit, and I'm never going to show that to anybody. But stuff like that will keep me inspired.
Yeah, fair enough. What's your favourite thing about being a photographer?
That's a good question. There's a few things, actually. I think one of them is especially sunrise photography. And if you're at a popular location, you're the only one there.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
It's a privilege to experience that, and there's no one there. But also, you do go to some places that people just come, they get their Instagram shot, and they go. And as a landscape photographer, you go and you sit and you look, and you can spend an hour or 2 hours there. You really get to know that place, or
well, you said particularly if you're there well before sunrise, like I normally am. I try to get there about 45 minutes to an hour before, and you just see those phases from almost complete black all the way through to golden, and then too bright, harsh light. I
was in Patagonia last year, and we hiked up to a lake. I purposely didn't research before I went over there. So we left the hotel at 2 a.m. to get up to this lake for sunrise. And I was actually with a group, and I said to the leader, I said, "What are we looking at here?" Because there's a lake and there's these mountains. Got my focus dialed, and it was still dark enough that you're focusing on stars. And I took the first shot. I was like, "Oh my God, is that what's in front of me?" So that was really exciting to have that moment. The other thing I really enjoy about landscape photography as well is showing my non-landscape or my non-photographer friends my photographs, or they see them, and just to see the look of joy on their faces, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Or the astrophotography, what's that arch in the sky? So that's actually our Milky Way. Oh, I've never seen that.
Not like that. No, you won't.
Yeah, no, that's actually what it looks like. So yeah, it's nice. It's good. But yeah, as I said before as well, it's just that the community, the landscape photography people that's in that community, they're all really good people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. What's your least favourite thing about being a photographer?
good question. I think the thing I dislike the most is probably our scrolling society. No one's really looking
Yeah.
at photographs anymore, and that's a shame. Yeah, getting out of bed as well. I don't think anyone enjoys that for a sunrise. I think you've got to be some kind of sadist if you do, but yeah.
Dark o'clock's not a good time to be getting out of bed.
No, it's not. Especially if you've got a nice warm body beside you, it's really hard to peel yourself away from that.
Definitely.
But the hardest bit is putting your feet on the floor. Once they're on the floor, you're good to go. But
Yeah. Once you're up, you're out.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, if people actually stopped and looked at photographs, that would be nice.
What do
Yeah.
you see as the future of photography?
Yeah, I don't think it's going away. I think it's more accessible to people now as phone cameras are getting better and better. I think, that's a great thing. I've got friends of mine that they do quite a bit of traveling, and I know that they're coming back and they're excited to show me photographs of the landscape that they've taken. Whereas if you go back 10, 15 years when we were still doing film, that landscape would have had a person in it, because you're not going to waste that dollar on that bit of film of nothing, of just a hill or a tree or whatever. So I do, yeah, do that it's accessible to more and more people.
Yeah, I think that the fact that everybody carries a camera around with them now is amazing, because it does mean that the visual media, I think we're probably in one of the most visually saturated eras of history.
Yeah.
But the problem with that saturation means that the saturation makes it hard to gain any kind of attention or traction.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm quite glad that I was a 90s kid and there's no evidence.
Yeah, I was an 80s kid, so yes, no evidence there either.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, I'm a big advocate for the best camera is the one that you've got with you. And 9 times out of 10, that is your phone. I've won competitions with photographs that I took on my phone. I was runner up in NZ Geo's one of their main categories a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And that photograph was taken on my phone. And the guy that won the category, he was a professional photographer with a professional camera. And then there's me and my iPhone.
Proves that the photographer is actually greater than the camera.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's like saying I've got a good oven, so it's going to make me a good cake.
Yeah, that's right.
Not necessarily, yeah. Saying that I fell into the trap when I got my first DSLR that I had a good camera, so I'm going to take these amazing photographs.
These are all going to be amazing.
Terrible.
They're going to look much
terrible.
better.
Yeah.
It's actually going to highlight the flaws even more.
Yeah, it was interesting. Last year I was asked to guest speak at a camera club down the line a little bit. And the club is full of quite novice photographers. They're really enthusiastic people. It was cool. I put my presentation together and I was going through my old photographs because I wanted to show that progression of where I've started to where I'm at. There's one photograph I've deleted it, and I'm so sorry that I have. It's the worst astrophotograph photograph that you've ever seen. That's what piqued my interest in astro. I think it was just 4 blinking dots. I don't even know what it was.
What's the best and or worst piece of advice anyone's given you?
Photography related. When I was 15, I did an exchange over to Australia, sponsored with Rotary. And with that, you're expected to go to Rotary meetings. And I was at one of my host club's meetings over there, and one of the Rotarians asked me what I wanted to do when I left school, and I said I want to be a photographer. No idea what it entailed, but I clearly remember their answer was, it's very hard to make a living in photography. And I just put it in hard basket and pursued another career. So maybe, I don't know if that was good advice or bad advice, but maybe if
they're not
me
completely
some other
wrong.
No, maybe if I had some other advice, I might have got pursued things earlier on in my life than I have. But I think the best advice I've had is actually come from my partner. He's not a photographer, but it's been, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it?
That's it.
Yeah. Are you going to wait until you're too old and not fit enough to get out and do these things? So
I've got to say, I think that's one of the best pieces of advice I've heard on the podcast so far.
Oh, tell him that.
All right, we're going to have to wrap up shortly because I think both of us are starting to run out of time a little bit. Are there any photographers you think I should be talking to?
Yep, I have got a little list here.
Excellent.
So yeah, obviously Nick Page, and I don't know if you've spoken to him already or not.
No, not as yet. He's been on my list, I think, since day one, and early on I was a bit scared to approach him, but
yeah, no, he's a very cool guy. I've followed Nick for years, and
same.
I was very nervous the reason I went to Iceland was because it was his workshop, and I was nervous then, that old saying, don't meet your heroes. But yeah, he's really cool. He's real down to earth. I'm going to butcher his name. Thorian Johnson.
Okay.
I think is his name, his full name, otherwise known as Thor. So he's Icelandic. He's very cool as well. Himself and Nick work together. It's just, he's a pretty cool guy. And there's another two people as well. They're both English photographers. I have no idea what these people are like. I just really like their work. Tom, who I mentioned earlier on, who's last name I'm sure I
don't know Heather's work. I know Ed's work though. I've seen his stuff. Yeah.
His work's amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah, I'd love to get into his head and see how he processes stuff.
I'll try and do that on your behalf.
Please do. That would be great.
All right. I know you've listened to a few episodes, so you know what's coming next. Do you like pineapple on pizza?
I do. I actually had one a couple of weeks ago. It was delicious. Nice. It was the first time I had one in a while. I wouldn't put it on if I'm making it, but yeah, if I'm ordering it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ambivalent. You've probably heard me say this, but I won't order it. But if it's there, and I'll eat it.
Yeah, I'm sure Italian people would probably want to send it straight to the depths of hell or somewhere, along with your pineapple.
To that question at all. Why are you even asking? It's been absolutely wonderful spending some time with you, Erin. Where can people find your work?
Usual places: Instagram, Facebook, Vero, although I'm not very active on Vero, and my website. It's all my name, Erin Jacob photography.com. Yep, that's where I'm at.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. So I've listened to your podcast for a long time, and you've had some big names on here, and it's a real honour to share the stage with them. So thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for being so generous with your stories. It's been great. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. Hope I didn't waffle too much.
Oh, absolutely not. Thanks again for listening to Landscape Photography World. I hope you enjoyed the show, and keep listening because I'll be joined by some great guests in upcoming episodes. You can find my work in this podcast at grantswinburnphotography.com, along with prints and photography gear. I'm also on Vero, Photo, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Grant Swinburne. Hope to see you out shooting soon.